Hello, welcome back to the channel. And guess what? I have an opinion. This is not politics, though. Not world events, not um drama. This is actually something that I'm surprised that I've actually got myself interested in. Apparently it's a Dungeons and Dragons movie, and when I look at it, it actually looks like they're doing something right. Actually, not one thing, a handful of things, and yeah, I just hope it's written right because you never know if something is written right because of how little they actually show in any trailer ever. So, yeah, they have there's a Dungeons and Dragons movie, Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which I hate the second part of that thing. It's there I actually do hate that name. Um I don't think anything has to do with it. It was usually just like one thief in Dungeons and Dragons, and I would know. I play it um, frequently, including DMing my own campaign. So I understand that there are rogues and they thieve, and anyone else that tries usually fails. They're not good at it. You can be, but I would suggest that you don't. So we can. I'm gonna see. We'll just see what this looks like. Eh?
Here's the thing. We're a team.
Alright, already 3 seconds in, and you can see the entire cast. Well, most of the cast. Right up front, you got Chris Pine playing as a bard, which makes a lot of sense. From last time I saw him, well, last time I saw him was in Wonder Woman. Well, before that, he was playing Captain Kirk. And, yeah. The only other person I can think that could fill this role is Nathan Fillion, and Chris Pine's younger. So it could be a little bit more dashing on film, I guess, on camera. You also got Michelle Rodriguez playing as a barbarian, which that's that's what she does, and she does it all right. So it's perfect for her. You got a guy barely seen in anything. I don't think I've seen him in anything. That guy's name is Justice Smith. I don't think I've seen him in anything, but he in some of the other pictures, he seems to be fitting into that role of what he should be, and he just fits. Including he has a theater background. He's playing a sorcerer. Um, that fits pretty well. He could also be a wizard. You have to have a certain quirkiness to play a wizard, especially. Play a sorcerer, you have to be conflicted in some ways, but also have a little bit of sorcery part, which I think a theater actor could probably get that right. So, hey, I'm just gonna guess on that, and that's what I'm gonna go with it. I don't usually give films like these benefits out. I don't expect usually things out of this, but these things seem to be fitting correctly with casting so far. And there's also the woman on the far right. She is a fan of Critical Role, which is hosted by Matt Mercer, a D&D show. Um, and she's playing a tiefling druid. She this A tiefling druid sounds like, oh my gosh, just the best way to create as much chaos in a party as possible to make things interesting. And so if she actually plays D&D as well, which it kind of sounds like she probably did or does, um, yeah, she would probably just have to take on the persona of one of her characters as in D&D. And since she's actually been in things and she hasn't sucked as an actress, you just have to take on a persona you've taken on before, but now add in some actual being on film part, not just sitting on sitting at a table and acting it out. You don't have to dress up when you play D&D or anything like that. I'm sorry, Big Bang Theory. People don't usually do that. At least I don't. I use voices and have fun with it, and maybe break character a little bit for fun as well. Hey, it comes to the territory. Usually.
Team of thieves. And when you do this, you're bound to make enemies.
Oh look, a fifth character. Let's see who this guy is. I don't know who he is. And there is the first character that I'm not sure, actually probably the only character that I'm really unsure of who this guy is. I do like some of the ideas that they show of him in throughout the trailer, of like, we want him on our side. He's playing a paladin. I mean, he's acting as a paladin. And that actor is Roger Jean Page. I don't know if I said that correctly. I tried. Or I said it incorrectly. I'll see you in the comments. I know I got the rest of them correctly. I'm happy for that much. But yeah, he is playing a paladin. He's dressed like a paladin. A helmet's coming up that he could probably wear, like a paladin would. And he's trying to act. He's acting really freaking powerful, which every single paladin in a lot of versions, at least, a lot of versions of paladins in a lot of versions of D&D have very powerful paladins, rather than rangers. Rangers always seem to get the short end of the stick. I wish it wasn't that way. Maybe they'll change it. There are some good versions of paladins you can probably have, but rangers. There's good rangers you can probably play as, but most paladins are very powerful. Hey, I'm playing a paladin right now. Half sorcerer, but still, I have fun with it. And as long as it's happening and I'm not being a dick to the rest of my party, hey, it's fun. But that outfit does seem to fit him, and all you have to be is quite stoic and stuff like that. But it'll be a little bit stiff as a paladin. But I trust a couple of other people in the cast to make the party more interesting, and he can just play as a straight man. Which, if that is what they're going to do, I'm all for it.
Sometimes those enemies come looking for revenge.
I know what you're thinking. Why is a big dragon puking up that kind of stuff? Well, in D&D, dragons come in not just all shapes and sizes, all different colors. They don't just shoot fire or just shoot ice and fire like you would see in Skyrim or Game of Thrones. There's ones that shoot acid, and I'm not sure what this one is, but it's very likely you'll see something like that. I'll have to look up what that is exactly, and maybe I'll find out. Alright, so I looked up what black dragons spew. They spew acid. And I have to say, they could have made it like kind of tacky green and just, but I think black probably works better on screen. So actually, I think that's not a bad idea. So it's spitting acid. They're not saying that, but it makes perfect sense. I'll let that go. Yeah, I like that idea.
Truth be told, we helped the wrong person steal the wrong thing. We didn't mean to unleash the greatest evil the world has ever known. But we're gonna fix it.
So already we've seen a spell that is that warps space a little bit. That's a little bit high level, but I guess if it's that small of an area, yes, it's possible. Like, but it's second, third, fourth level or something like that. You could probably get away with a third level doing something like that. If it's not going to be less than long, and I guess they have terrible stats to let them get away with that. Also, we got a giant spider. Yeah, they're definitely giant spiders. Since giant spiders are that small, yeah, there are some giant spiders that are not actually that big of a threat. Yeah, I can look at that and say, yeah, that's very possible. And
how do we pull that off? Figure it out over a drink?
Probably best.
yeah, that's kind of how it feels like sitting at a table. That kind of banter happens. What are we gonna do? I don't know yet. We'll kind of figure it out as we go. And that's how I play D&D. I don't know about anybody else, but I kind of have to play it that way.
You need to give us a fighting chance. We're gonna need strength. You got this, right?
I know you don't.
We also need courage.
I can already see some of the things going on there. The blade. Yeah, there are magical blades. The fight scenes don't look like they're made terribly, so far at least, which makes me even a little more hopeful as well. It's interesting hearing that a Led Zeppelin theme play over all this. So, you also got that going. I don't know how I'm going to get, and I might have cut out all the audio for this. I'm unsure if I'm going to do that or not, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. But you have to know that, yes, they are playing a lot of Led Zeppelin through this trailer.
Magic?
I know what you're thinking. A sword that can do that and a helmet that can do that. Does it exist? No. But guess what? There's a word for that. Homebrew. And I do a lot of it. Because, well, if you don't homebrew something every once in a while, you'll run out of material pretty quickly. It really throws things together. There are entire campaigns that are homebrewed. There are rule sets that are made up not by anything official. So you can have a rule set that's homebrewed. Every character is homebrewed down to their what they can do. Because of rule sets, their classes are homebrewed, their races are homebrewed, their spells, their weapons, their armor, the actual items they pick up, they're not neither one of those, like potions and stuff. They may not even have potions. The world, all these things can be homebrewed. Now, they're going to add things into it that are going to be instantly recognizable, and so they can homebrew. They can as long as they have what it feels like Dungeons and Dragons, it's faithful. If it feels like it is, even if not everything in there, like that's not in Dungeons and Dragons handbooks and stuff, that's fine. That's normal. I would be doing this too. That this a lot of these things would be how my campaign would run. I have things in there that would be like in most books, like a lot of the monsters. A lot of the monsters are really well made. You're going to be making them, and also making a actual stat block that's not completely utterly broken. It's not smart usually. Tweaking a little bit for the party, sure. Like fudging health, fudging the health of it. story purposes, it makes sense. Even if that makes no sense to most people that don't play it, it will, because you could make your party really freaking powerful, but very squishy. So you give them monsters that have a lot of health. You can't just give people monsters that have a lot of health, but not a lot of power. So you kind of have to fudge it a little bit. That's how it works. It's people have talked about that on Reddit. It's not just me that does it. And if it is just me, well, fingers crossed I enjoy it still. Feel like I'm doing something right.
And you. What is that again?
It's an owlbear.
And Drew powers awaken. She turns into an owlbear, and owlbear actually doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's a decent CGI monster. They don't have to do too much of it. They just have to this is everything else around it can be, they're just in woods with maybe a little bit of practical effects that make it a little bit more fantasy feeling, a little bit touch up of lighting and saturation, and throw in a CGI monster, and everything else doesn't look weird, so they don't look weird. I am for that. They're not overly doing it when it comes to CGI, which is a huge flaw when it comes to a whole lot of movies that are trying to do what they're kind of trying to do. So that's smart on their part. Owlbear doesn't look bad, and druids do turn to owlbears, so they're not fudging up the class a little bit. Again, it's okay if they do, but to an extent, at some point, it won't feel like D&D to a lot of people. I know what you're thinking, and that doesn't actually look like the same dragon. It kind of does, but I think that's actually a stone dragon, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's got feelings of like a gargoyle or something like that, so I would think it is a stone dragon, and yes, they do exist. And it's what's something it does interesting, petrifying shriek and stuff like that. It looks very stone-like, and what it does is it wants to keep you from doing things mostly. Sure sense. It has a very rocky feeling to it, and I kind of like how it looks. Nice fierce eyes. I like it. It's cool. It's kind of cool.
Be warned.
And immediately we get a gate or something like that. A portal. I've played a druid and I've given him portal magic before. That does exist. It's expensive. It's an expensive spell, but there'd be very high level adventures. Or she has a item for it, which it doesn't look like she did. So, their DM has some words for them about using magic at that level, at their level probably, unless, because if they are at that level, they can probably kill gods. That's where it is usually when they can get to that point.
There is evil here.
And it looks like they are going to have, even though it doesn't look like it, I'm pretty sure they're in the Underdark. And so they're fighting what should be Drow. Kinda does, but kinda doesn't. It just does. So I'm also kind of thinking might have a mind flayer. If they do, I don't know how well they can actually CGI a Mind Flayer without it looking kind of off. If they just make them fight drows and stuff like that, sure. Especially because a Mind Flayer might be a mastermind, but it doesn't. From what they said in the beginning of the trailer, it wouldn't be. Maybe they have some things that would be around here, but drow, yeah, it's a welcome addition.
I'm glad he's on our side.
All right, a freaking lightning bolt and a fireball. You gotta have a fireball in this thing. It's a spell that every person that's ever played even a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons or wants to start playing it knows is really powerful. Well, people that haven't played it yet don't know, but it's a very powerful spell. And it looks like he I don't know what spell that is. Unless they want to do counterspell in some unique way. That would be how I do it. I guess it might be that they don't want to do counterspells. They kind to do they are doing counterspell, but they want to visualize it differently. But that's probably what it is. No, I like barriers. Why don't I have barriers? They have counterspell? Yeah, we'll do this. We make it so it shields. But it could probably only do that for magical stuff. So I'm okay with that for the most part.
This one's dangerous.
That mimic looks like it came straight from the 80s and 90s. Yeah, it actually looks like it's made of practical effects, so which they can definitely do. But if they are going to do anything more of that, it looks like it's going to be like a one-off thing, and just go on there and kind of attack it, and get out. But mimics are. It could be more powerful than this. I don't know how they're going to really use it, but interesting to have it.
But whatever happens.
Gelatinous cube. I would not jump into it. It would eat me alive. It's cool it's in there. Interesting pull. But I would not jump in there. It would immediately start eating you alive. And yeah, they're kind of powerful.
We'll be ready.
That thing is freaking huge. That's definitely a red dragon. That could be an ancient red dragon, or yeah, it probably is ancient red dragon. Not many things have that kind of. Most ancient red dragons have that kind of crook in them, in their neck. Adult ones don't really have that, but yeah, I like that. Actually, not even that, but it's a red dragon of some sort. I'm probably wrong about that. I think I've seen one of those things before, though. It's kind of mixed between a couple of them. He also kind of just looks like Deathwing. The Deathwing. I'll put a picture of him up, but it kind of made me think of him a little bit as well.
What is it exactly that you bring to this?
I'm a planner. I make plans.
You've already made the plan, so
If the existing plan fails, I make a new plan.
you make plans that fail.
No,
He also plays the lute.
not relevant.
So yeah, that's also some things. That last little banter part makes me think of every time that I've ever, well, not me exactly, but it just makes me think like, hey, this person's gonna play with us in their campaign, and get along. Things happen. You don't know they don't know what the heck's going on. You try to explain how their character is, and banter ensues. Because of course it does. But yeah, this feels D&D. It's That's what it needs to do. It needs to feel like a D&D session could play out like this, and it does. It actually does. Um, you would think to be a massive amount of monsters you have to find and stuff like that. No. It's 5 people, and realistically, 5 people would not be fighting hundreds or dozens. And if they are, it's weak human people or goblins. Um, which, yeah, that's kind of how it is. When you're fighting monsters, you're usually fighting a couple or one, maybe 4 or 5 at some points, but you're not fighting a ton. And usually you have as many. There's another credit, actually, a Wikipedia list in this. Hugh Grant is playing a rogue. And going by his rom-coms, he can be roguish, so sure, let's go with that too. It doesn't seem like he's as major a character as the rest of them, but I think he'll do okay at that. You also have got, who else is in this movie? Jason Wong. He might be okay. Chloe Coleman? Don't know him. Don't know her. Daisy Head? Don't know her either. I've never seen anything she's in. Yeah. None of these. I've never seen any of these. Have I seen anything that Jason Wong's been in? No. No, I haven't. The good news, they don't seem to be as big as characters anyways, so it's fine. This is not usually. It doesn't seem like it's driven by a very steady plot, a very twists and turns around every corner. It doesn't have to be. It could be character driven. I think it's going to be character driven, and as long as the druid, I've already, sorry. As long as Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, and Sophia Lillis have good enough chemistry and stuff like that, and Regine Page and Justice Smith they seem like they're going to be kind of straight, but if they play it correctly, they can be pretty decent at it too. But they can get they can get away with that, and I'm alright with that. The directors I'm not too familiar with, so I'm going to actually look at who they are. So, no. Well, he has worked on Horrible Bosses. That wasn't bad. Kind of Burt Wonderstone. He can do some good things. He's also worked on. Actually, no, that's the newer. That's 2015. That's not the good one. That's not a good National Lampoon Vacation. Homecoming is good. So he's 50-50. He's kind of 50-50. It seems like he has a good cast, though, so I will say that he can probably do something. He's also done the PJs. So, and it looks, and going off of these things, if the younger the people that's like, oh, this is actually the kind of original. It's not a sequel or part of a long series. Ones with those, you just like, you can do whatever you want with this. Like, even if you give him like a property, a known property, you can give it to him. It looks like he can work with it. The other things he can't, which works. Game night Homecoming, Horrible Bosses, the PJs. He worked on those. There were some things on here that he also worked on that are not good, but they also look like they felt like things where he was pushed to do something he didn't want to do. So I'm alright with it. It works. It looks like it would work pretty well. Also, the Incredible Hulk Renaissance actually, I remember where it was received decently at least. So I didn't watch it very much. It wasn't for me, but some people liked it. It's supposed to take place in the Forgotten Realms, which is makes perfect sense. It's heavily featured. It's the most featured world in Dungeons and Dragons, so it makes sense. It's also very much a dual directing. The other one is actually mostly an actor from Bones, John Francis Daly. Because so he was in that. Freaks and Geeks is decent, but I'm not sure. Oh, never mind. He works with Goldstein a lot, so hey, if it works, it works. It's also another guy has been writing the script, and he has won awards for his scripts. Well, maybe not his scripts, but he has won awards for his work. So if he does have that happen for him, yeah, that's fine with me. He also wrote in The Blacklist, which is good. So Blacklist is actually a very, very good thing. Chris McKay, he apparently the story is by him, and yeah, immediately I see his work. Robot Chicken, More Oral, Lego Batman Movie. All those are More Oral is a little bit interesting. A lot of these are very, very a lot of things they're just mentioning right there. Like, yeah, it's very adult, but it doesn't have to be that adult rated to do something right, because the Lego Batman movie wasn't that, and he directed it. So, hey, good job on that. So there's a lot of people that are in this that know what they're doing. Jonathan Goldstein, John Francis Daly, they made some good comedies. This does have a comedic feel and a lot of Dungeons & Dragons stuff. Even not just my stuff. I looked at some Twitch VODs and stuff like that. You want banter. And the banter in the movies that they've directed is good. And you need good banter for a Dungeons & Dragons movie. Otherwise, you go into the hole of some other ones that a lot of fantasy movies try to do. Especially ones that can go this dark. I expected them to go really dark, and they're not. If they want to do with these, and I very much respect it, because anyone that's ever played for Dungeons & Dragons for real is never had it go too dark. I'm saying that a lot, but it's true. It doesn't go that way. And everyone that they have working on this are mostly working in the same field. The screenplay guy, not as much. But he doesn't have to be. As long as he can make this, he's mostly doing it so there might be some weird things about that, but he does apparently can work on certain things in The Blacklist, and he's done some Sundance stuff, so he doesn't have a lot of actual work, high profile at least, but he's done something apparently. It doesn't give me that much hope in it because it's literally there's not a whole lot on his work anywhere, but that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Producers, I'm not really fussed about it. It's fine. As long as everything goes the way it should, we should be good. Also, I remember mentioning the cast of all those people. That's when you look at like the sidebar for the Wikipedia page, they don't even put the people that I don't know, other than the Justice Smith and Regine Page. Regine Page. They all those guys are on there, and they kind of just like, oh, these guys are also doing some stuff in there too. Who are they? Oh, they fit the role, so they gave them the job. Which, if that's really the reason why they got those roles, they should be fine as well. So, that works. So it's supposed to release in next year in March. Now, a little bit of that feels kind of odd that they're going to say like, oh yeah, we're going to release it on this day next year. That gives me some doubt, some worry that they want to set it in stone that far away. That scares me. People don't usually do that. They give you a date when it comes out, like a couple months, not a year before it comes out. Yeah, it's kind of thing. It has had some looks like it's had some issues since they've originally wanted to do something like this. Some and it's been like thrown around to place, but like, oh, we should do a Dungeons & Dragons movie, and then like the scripts can like change and go to different studios, but all that goes all the way back to 2013. 9 years. That scares me a little bit. I do like where they've been doing these, which is Iceland and Ireland. Yeah. A lot of those volcano parts, I'm pretty sure we placed in Iceland, which yeah, that makes sense. Some of the Underdark is probably filmed indoors somewhere, and all those forests are probably in Ireland. And I probably some of the I'm not sure where they do the city, but they probably did that in Ireland too. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't really know if the forests look like that in Ireland though, but if there's places to do fantasy, these two places look pretty juicy for it. I just seen that actually they're gonna have Hugh Grant as the antagonist. Yeah, that's interesting. They will also have, oh man, Critical Role. A lot of the members of like, is it all the entire? It says revealed that cast members from it will make cameo appearances in it. So it's probably going to be another party at a tavern or something like that. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure. but a lot of these castings for the actual stars was 2 years ago. So they actually got all these things in for 2 years with COVID. All right. So there is some development hell, but hey, if they're able to get these things actually going in 2 years with COVID restrictions, I'm alright with it. So I feel a lot better about this than a whole lot of other schlock that you would think would come from this. Especially properties that would be in this, like, a lot of other times I would think that, like, oh yeah, they're gonna do this slot, like, kind of like video game movies would be doing, but they did something correct. And I wouldn't be surprised if the reason for it actually being well thought out is, oh yeah, Dungeons & Dragons been going on since the 70s. Even some of the older people that are being involved with it would know that it exists. And some of them actually probably played it. And since some of these people worked on World Robot Chicken, that there's some pretty nerdy people that worked on that and created it. It seems perfect, actually. So yeah. That is a full review of a trailer that is like 3 minutes long. It's not even 3 minutes. It's 2 minutes and 9 seconds. And I have rambled way too long. But hope you enjoyed it. I might see this and review it as well. I might have to take my word and take. I might have to, even if it's bad. Now that I say that, but hey, if I'm actually getting paid to do something like that, I am no fussed about it. I will sell out immediately. Yeah, if you like it, subscribe, leave a like, comment what you think about it. And, well, I'll see you guys tomorrow with something else I definitely want to rip into. I don't know what that is yet. We'll see, won't we? See ya.